been seen as a universal and therefore a neutral forum within which people make judgments about what's going on. For instance, think about the argument that Kamala Harris was calculated, but Uncle Joe wasn't. You tell me the refusal to apologize is not calculated, to look tough. What did he end up looking like? He ended up looking like an old white guy who doesn't know that he ought to apologize when somebody says you hurt me, and then gin up the argument, make principled assaults upon them, because he could have well said that Kamala Harris has some vulnerabilities that need to be articulated that he could do.
Well, he blew that opportunity, but let's just be fair for 1 second.
But it's both and. It's not either or, sir.
No, I'm with you. Professor, I accept that. But Jennifer, what happens when you apologize in politics? What happens? You get beat up on for apologizing.
But he apologized anyway.
I know.
He apologized.
I don't know why he did, because I don't know what it gets you in this business right now. That's why the president never apologized.
Can I jump in before the governor?
I disagree with that.
But here's the point.
Go ahead.
That at the very beginning, had he said, look, you're absolutely right. I was wrong, but I did something, 30, 40 years ago that I've changed. And since then, I've been hanging out with a black guy named Barack Obama. And by the way, I defended him and went to war for him. And so that, Janet Jackson has raised the question, what have you done for me lately? Let me tell you what I've done more recently that allows me to articulate my principled racial practice and allows me to defend myself on this stage.
No, I give that an amen. I give that an amen. I don't mean to be a cynic in terms of the power of forgiveness and the ability to have a legitimate apology. I'm just saying in politics, it's not often rewarded. Although I would say this, Gov, I think that Mr. Biden may be doing Harris and Booker and anybody else he gets into it with a favor, because Democrats need to see any of these potentials tested, because this is the most fearsome politician we've seen in my lifetime on the national stage, President Trump. And I mean that as a compliment. The man knows how to fight in a way that the media will reward and his base will respond. So you got to see if they're up to it.
No question. No question. People want to see people getting in the ring and battling fiercely over ideas. They completely want that. And yes, record is fair game. No doubt about that either. But people want to see the future. What is going to happen to me and my life in the future? And I don't think that apologizing, or at least saying, you know what? I've evolved. I've grown. I mean, I have done stuff in the past year that I would redo again. I have done stuff in the past day that I would redo. It's not human to suggest that we are static as human beings. I mean, Dr. Dyson, you're a preacher. You understand the power of forgiveness.
Love and forgiveness.
And I think that there is a place for that for somebody that has lived a long time to understand the power of evolution. So all of that is to say, yes, fight. Yes, come out swinging on ideas and persuade us that your ideas are the best for the people.
But you know what, Chris Cuomo, you know what the real deal is. Donald Trump has an ability and a privilege to say nasty and do nasty things that an African American and a woman won't. If Hillary Clinton had done half the stuff that this man is doing, she would have been berated. If Barack Obama had taken a sip of a white Russian drink in the White House, if he had taken a white Russian drink.
You guys will judge on this. His people will not. But I'm saying to you, sir, a
black man can't be angry. A black woman can't be as angry as Donald Trump, can't be as vociferous, as vituperative, as nasty, and as disregarding the consequences of his own speech. And I'm telling you, that's a form of privilege that these candidates don't have. Listen, and as a result of that, fighting has to be done in very strategic and very politics.
Very true. You must understand the rules of play, even if you want to change and reject those rules. Vituperative is a big word. Biggest word I ever use is mayonnaise, but I respect you for using that word on this show because it is perfectly fit.
And look,
brother. You've got the metaphor here. You've got a white Anglo-Saxon man who is preaching to America that his prejudices are well-founded and that the division is necessary. And you are going to have a monumental task in front of you. It'll go to the core of the soul of this country.
Out of his mind and out of his depth.
Michael Eric Dyson, always a plus. Jennifer Granholm, value added, as always. Thank you both. All right.
Thanks so much.
I got one quick thing I want to show you. Widen out a little bit, Ellie. Here's a metaphor I was taught about how you need to fight in a primary as a Democrat, okay? When somebody attacks you, you go like this. Hey, take it easy. I don't want any trouble. You look defensive, right? But look how close your hand has gotten to your opponent. And then you hit back. That's what you're going to have to see in this debate. Not ugliness. Disagreement with decency, but somebody who can put their hands up when they're being attacked and then knows how to smack back at an opponent to show that they are the strongest for their party in this. It's a metaphor that worked for me. I was like 12 when someone taught it to me. So, in terms of the substance of it, The biggest issue that came out of this Mueller probe yesterday should now be obvious to you about what it should mean in the election. Election protection. But it's still not happening. Republicans are stopping it. Why? The president isn't demanding it. Why? We're going to talk to one of the heads of his re-election campaign. What is the way forward? Next.
What's going on?
It's a 3 p.m. slump.
Should add a P3.
Oh, yeah.
Need energy? Get P3 with a mix of meat, cheese, and nuts.
With Advil, you'll ask, what sore muscles? What pounding head? Advil is relief that's fast, strength that lasts. You'll ask, what pain? With Advil.
If you do anything with regularity, you should get massaged with regularity. Get a free 60-minute session when you join today. Massage Envy. Keep your body working.
The only thing we love more than slinging
is showing folks how easy it is.
Explore all the possibilities.
Your first time slinging is always so special.
I cried my first time.
Get live TV, only $15 your first month at slingtv.com.
With my hepatitis C, I felt I couldn't be at my best for my family. In only 8 weeks with Mavyret, I was cured and left those doubts behind.
I faced reminders of my Hep C every day, but in only 8 weeks with Mavyret, I was cured.
Even hanging with friends, I worried about my Hep C, but in only 8 weeks with Mavyret, I was cured.
Mavyret is the only 8-week cure for all common types of Hep C. Before starting Mavyret, your doctor will test if you've had hepatitis B, which may flare up and cause serious liver problems during and after treatment. Tell your doctor if you've had hepatitis B, a liver or kidney transplant, other liver problems, HIV-1, or other medical conditions, and all medicines you take, including herbal supplements. Don't take Mavyret with atazanavir or rifampin, or if you've had certain liver problems. Common side effects include headache and tiredness.
With Hep C behind me, I feel free.
Fearless.
And there's no looking back, because I am cured.
Talk to your doctor about Mavyret.
Fine. No one leaves the table till you're finished.
Fine. We'll sleep here.
It's the easiest because it's the cheesiest. Kraft for the win-win.
Bear presents Outdone Yourself. Staining be done.
Done.
And stay done through every season.
Done.
Bear semi-transparent stain. Find it exclusively at the Home Depot.
Done.
I put a spell on you. Made you a mark to my flame.
Killer Neighbors, an all-new season of vengeance. Premieres August 4th on HLN.
Many times after an injury, the insurance company will try to pay you as little as possible to protect their bottom line. But my bottom line is this: you should get paid nothing less than every dime you deserve. There's only one Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
This is the one you don't want to miss. It's the $20 million sell-off at Bears Furniture. Save up to 70% off and more store-wide on beautiful designer furniture. Many items at, near, or below cost. This two-piece sectional now just $597. Sofas are priced as low as $447. Everything must go. Up to 70% off and more. The $20 million sell-off. Going on now at Bears Furniture. Don't miss it.
In many of our car crash trials, the insurance company tries to classify permanent injuries as temporary. They say the injury was pre-existing. They do this to avoid paying for our clients' future medical expenses. If you've been in a crash, call us. There's only one Morgan & Morgan.
The CNN Democratic presidential debates starting Tuesday at 8 on CNN.
I don't know how much more proof we need of this. I would see it as dispositive at this point, but President Trump's own FBI director just told us all today the same thing that Mueller did yesterday, that the head of intelligence has, that our elections are under attack.
In the last few years, we've seen many examples of cyber actors targeting political campaigns. We expect much of the same in 2020.
Russia, China, North Korea, maybe even more and more pernicious. Why? Now they know it works. Nearly 24 election security bills have been introduced in this Congress. None is going anywhere. And we haven't heard anything from this president except that it's not real and that he believes that Putin had nothing to do with it. Kayleigh McEnany is with his campaign. Good to have you on the show to get this perspective. Help me understand this one, because now that it is case closed, and I think that the president has a fair chance of making that argument after yesterday, why not jump on election protection and say Russian interference is real? We got to fix it.
Well, he has, and I'll give you several things that have been done by both Congress and the president. DHS has worked with more than 1,000 localities and states to ensure that their systems have integrity and are safe and protected. The president's issued 2 executive orders to assess our cybersecurity. You look at Congress, they passed the Deter Act, which says you can't enter this country if you've engaged in election interference. And by the way, I would note they made it a crime to hack our elections, and they provided $380 million to states, more than 1,050 localities. So a lot has been done, Chris. It's just false to say that nothing has been done and no one has cared about this issue, because this administration has, and certainly more than Obama, who did nothing.
Well, first of all, we didn't have the risk then. You can argue that Obama mishandled it when he found out about it during 2016 and that he played it too safe and he made the mistake of going to Mitch McConnell and trying to have this be bipartisan. But let's keep him out of it, because that was then, this is now. My point is simple. This president has never said the following: Russia interfered in our election, they're trying to do it again, and I will stop them. Never.
President Trump said on May 3rd, Russia cannot interfere in our election. He has said that before, and I don't think you can leave President Obama out of this, because this threat went back to 2014. That is when the intel community knew that there was a threat.
The point is that that is a distraction from the now. And when the president stood on the stage of Helsinki, if you want to look back, when he sat there, he said this.
All I can do is ask the question. My people came to me, Dan Coates came to me, and some others. They said they think it's Russia. I have President Putin. He just said it's not Russia. I will say this. I don't see any reason why it would be.
Boy, oh boy, you want to go back to Obama when he said to then President Medvedev, you know, after the election, I'll have more leeway on policy. You guys made it seem like it was traitorous. Yet he said that on the stage in Helsinki, and you want the people to believe that he cares about the issue.
Well, first, Ambassador Bolton noted the very first issue that was brought up in that meeting with Putin was election interference.
By whom?
President Trump, meant by President Trump.
And he said
Vladimir Putin. He brought up election interference. I wasn't in the conversation.
Like he did in that last press conference where he said, hey, don't interfere in our election again.
It was brought up, Chris, and I would contrast this, by the way, to Susan Rice, Obama's NSA, National Security Advisor, who said, cut it out and stand down when the intel community said we must act against Russia. By contrast, this president has implemented sanctions, crippling sanctions.
No, yeah. Who made him put the sanctions in place, Kayleigh?
Who made him? No one made him.
He didn't introduce the sanctions. He didn't want to do the sanctions. He was forced to do the sanctions.
You know as well as I do, he's implemented sanctions. He's closed the Russian consulate, 2 of them. He's expelled 60 Russian intel officers.
And he has stood on the world stage and said he believes Putin over his own intel community.
He came out right after that and said, I meant to say that Russia did have a role.
He lied to the American people and tried to say that he didn't say what we all heard him say. But here's what I'm saying. Looking backwards is bad for you. Let's look forwards and say, why doesn't he now say election protection is paramount? McConnell, stop playing games. Put this on the floor. Act the way he did at the press conference yesterday about this issue. If you don't do it, you're fake and you're bad and you're untruthful and I don't like you. Say that to people who won't pass protections.
He has.
I gave you the date. Never made a public statement of strength behind ensuring the election.
Yes, he has, and his actions speak louder than
this is a man who acts by tweet.
Did, Chris. Anything President Obama did. The sanctions
he didn't have the same threat.
Yes, he did. Going back to 2014.
This happened in 2016 is when it became this.
The DNC server was hacked, and they knew about attempts to hack this going back to 2015.
And he made the mistake of not wanting to corrupt the election and going to Mitch McConnell to see if this could be a bipartisan thing. And that was his mistake. Bad on them.
No, President Obama's own national security advisor said stand down. President Obama did absolutely nothing. Even his own Russian ambassador said the sanctions in the aftermath of the election
from Republican senators saying
appropriate.
One of the first things they need to do, their second recommendation, is the United States should communicate to adversaries that it will view an attack on its election infrastructure as a hostile act, and we will respond accordingly. And you've never heard this president say it to the person who interfered the most. And this is a man who loves to threaten people that he wants to threaten. Not here.
He has repeatedly said it, but more than that,
he has not repeatedly said it.
He has stopped Nord 2, the biggest geoeconomic project in Russia, is no longer going on because of President Trump and his sanctions and his actions that he has taken, louder than anything President Obama did in his stand-down order.
Why won't he tell Congress to act on this issue, on these bills?
Congress has acted. I gave you many examples.
Then why are all these Republicans in the Senate trying to say we need to do more, and there have to be bills that are bipartisan that McConnell shoots down?
Chris, the bills that have been passed on election security by McConnell have been unanimous. The ones that have not passed were narrow on partisan lines and would have done nothing. The two today were partisan bills. The bills that had unanimous support passed.
By saying that you have to notify the FBI when a foreign actor comes to you?
Yeah, first of all, again, a farce, because it is already a crime to accept assistance from a foreign government.
I know, but what if it's less than that? What if you don't actually get something of value, but they do come to you? That's something we now know we need to report.
Chris, when Obama toured Europe during his campaign and McCain did and Romney did, it would have required them to report every single conversation or meeting with someone while overseas.
Only if that person made a solicitation to help them in the campaign. But Kelly, I got to leave it there. It's an important conversation. I appreciate you having it with me. We will continue it. All right?
Thank you, Chris.
Kayleigh McEnany, thank you. All right, tough news. 16 U.S. Marines arrested on their own base, right in the middle of gathering and formation. 16. Not easy to imagine. And what they're accused of is horrible. But we have to talk about it. It's instructive. Not of all Marines, but of these. D. Lemon, next.
Now's the time to tune, fix fletching, and practice until your groups are tight and consistent. It's time to get your season off to the right start. So head to Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's Archery Gear Up Sale. Come check out the newest gear from archery's top brands with huge savings so you can stock up on the gear you need. Plus, get your bow outfitted, tuned, and sighted right in the store. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here.
Before I was diagnosed by my doctor, I didn't know why my body was moving on its own. My eyes blinked way too much. It turns out I have tardive dyskinesia, a condition that may be related to important medications I take for my bipolar disorder. My fingers moved like they were playing a piano that wasn't there. Tardive dyskinesia can affect different parts of the body. It may also affect people who take medication for depression and schizophrenia. It's a relief to know that today, TD is manageable. Learn more at talkabouttd.com.
When I found out that my mom had breast cancer, I thought I was going to lose her.
It was important for me to go where I could get immediate, genuine care, and I found it at Cancer Treatment Centers of America. After my treatment ended, Brianna, my daughter, was diagnosed with the same type of cancer.
When you get a cancer diagnosis, just like Brianna and Jean, it can be very devastating. So we treat them as if they're a family member of ours.
After my mastectomy, it was maddening because I felt like part of my identity was being taken away.
When you're able to restore what cancer has taken away, you see that transformation firsthand, knowing that she had options that she could choose, help restore hope.
Dr. Eid and my team made me feel like a whole person again.
In our books, nothing can compare.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America. Appointments available now.
Let's be honest. You need insurance, but it's not really something you want to buy. It's not sexy.
Oh, delicious.
Or delicious. Or fun. But since you need both car and home insurance, why not bundle them with Esurance and save up to 10%, which you can spend on things you really want to buy, like, well, I don't know what you'd want to buy because I'm just a guy on your TV. Esurance. It's surprisingly painless.
Now that you have new Dr. Scholl's Massaging Gel Advanced Insoles with softer, bouncier gel waves, you'll move over 10% more than before. Dr. Scholl's, born to move.
Do you have an idea for an invention or new product? Do you think companies would be interested in your idea? Do you want to try to get a patent? Call InventHelp now for free information.
Call 1-800-492-4211.
I'm making it possible to breathe on Mars.
I'm helping make jet fuel from mustard seeds.
Estoy produciendo equipo de protección que mantiene héroes a salvo.
I'm making a digital twin of this analog factory.
At Honeywell.
At Honeywell.
At Honeywell,
We make lots of incredible things.
But mostly,
we make the future.
Closed captioning brought to you by Mesobook.com.
We offer a free book on mesothelioma. Call for the free book and receive so much more. Call 1-800-831-3700.
An investigation into human smuggling turned into a mass arrest today at Camp Pendleton in California. 16 Marines were taken into custody for migrant smuggling and drug-related offenses. The drug offenses had nothing to do with moving across the border. But this comes just weeks after 2 Marines from the same battalion were charged for transporting undocumented immigrants for money. D. Lemon is here. Let's say the obvious first. Few bad apples, not reflective of the bunch. U.S. Marines are arguably at the top of the food chain of people committed to our freedom. But, you know, this does shine a light on how if you want to worry about who's sneaking people across the border, you don't have to just look at migrants.
Yeah, which is absolutely true. Chris, I don't even know what to say about this story. As I read it, you know, because we have such respect for our men and women in uniform, but I can't believe it. But I guess, you know, the moral of the story is that it can happen to anyone. Good people can go bad. I hate to criticize our men and women in uniform because they do such a great job. But this, if true, is terrible, terrible activity, and they deserve whatever punishment they get.
Yeah, I think you call it out because we do respect them.
Right.
And we want to show that there is a standard, and they have to live up to it, maybe even more than the rest of us. They're kind of like the last line of people that we expect the best from on a regular basis. And of course,
no one is immune from bad behavior. No one is immune from bad behavior.
They're human. But again, you won't see the president going after the Marines for smuggling migrants across the border. Why?
Absolutely
true.
Because
it doesn't sell his fear and divisiveness to attack these smugglers. If they were other Mexicans or migrants.
Oh my gosh. Anyone from Central America, Honduras, any of that. Oh my gosh. As you call it, the brown what?
Menace.
Menace. Listen, I'm going to have Congresswoman Malandino on. Everyone wants to know what is going to happen. She's with the Judiciary Committee. Everyone wants to know what Democrats are going to do right now. So I've been here in Washington. I'm still here. I'm trying to figure out what is the plan going forward. We're getting ready for the debates as well. We're trying to figure out what's going on and who's going to be the best candidate to take on President Trump. That's the whole point of this thing, right? But also there's this story. I don't know if you heard about it. Have you heard about this Ole Miss story?
Yes.
What happened at this Emmett Till statue, Emmett Till
The kids
Memorial.
in front of it with the guns.
Kids in front of it with the gun. They are facing, these are students, facing possible civil rights charges and a civil rights investigation for things that they posted online. They were with guns. They don't know if they, in fact, did something to the monument, right? Desecrated the monument, but it's all under investigation. What in the hell is going on in this country right now?
You know what's going on. I'll be back with you in a second, D. Lemon.
See you in a bit.
All right. You want to talk about what's going on? The federal government is bringing back the death penalty. Why? Because that's what this campaign is about. It's about the new harshness, social instructions in different types of brutality. So, what is the right move here? You have to look at this policy deeply and in different ways. I will do that for you in the closing argument next.